I'm going to be dropping some secrets about what I do with my boys when they're constipated and just the nighttime routine, like where I keep things and what I use to make having a new baby a lot easier. So you guys can tell by the title that I'm going to be sharing with you guys products as well as tips and tricks on what I did from newborn all the way up to where we currently are, which is year 2 for our boys. Currently, some of it is still being used. Some of it I'm about to retire. Hence, I'm making the video before I retire certain items. So if you don't know, we have 2 boys, Julian and Matthew. They are Irish twins. Meaning they were born I think a year and 14 months apart, something like that. So that's considered Irish twins. And that was rough, like, having 2 babies back to back the way we did. But it was a blessing, and I thank God for it because they're my babies, okay? But I'm going to share with you our tips and tricks that we use for constipation. And so I guess this is Constipation Station right now, because the majority of the things I'm going to mention to you was what we did when our babies had constipation or to prevent constipation, making sure they didn't have diaper rashes, different things like that, all of those beautiful things with having babies. And this is what we did from newborn all the way up to currently. This product right here has been a holy grail in raising our kids. I'm pretty sure we've been through well over 100 bottles of this in between Julian, Matthew, and Brielle. And this carob syrup says a light corn syrup with real vanilla. And it has 0 high fructose corn syrup in it. So I will explain how we use this and what we use this for in just a moment. But I'm just going to go through all of the products, and then I'll do a demonstration at the very end of the video on how we use certain things. Then we also have Similac. With Julian and Matthew, Julian, I did try to breastfeed for a little bit, but it didn't last very long because he was not latching on. And then Matthew, I did breastfeed for a little bit longer. I think I breastfed Matthew for 2 to 3 months, but he kept wanting to use me as a binky, and I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't sleep without him underneath my breast. And I could not. Like, I love him being attached, and he's still super attached to me right now. He prefers me over his dad, unfortunately, but Julian prefers his dad over me. So it is what it is. 1 parent per child, which I'm all right with. But after I stopped breastfeeding Matthew, I started to wing him into Similac, and this is the brand that we used. We did have WIC. If you don't know what WIC is, it is a government-funded group that will actually help you purchase these items like Similac, baby food, like milk and butter and eggs and all those different things that you need for yourself as well as for the baby. If you breastfeed, at the WIC location in Maryland, they actually give you nursing bras every couple months, but that's if you strictly breastfeed, meaning you don't use their Similac package. So I highly recommend you look into that. They don't pull your credit or anything, but they do ask for your income. There's a pay bracket. You can make too much to have WIC benefits, and we were under that pay bracket compared to based off our expenses and how many kids we had. So thank God with all 3 of our children, we were able to get on WIC. And the reason why I say thank God is because this jar right here is like $20 and up just for one of these little guys. And kids can go through this in like a week, maybe less, especially with the newborn. So if you can get on WIC, I highly recommend it. Don't be one of those people who are like, oh, I don't want government services. What would people think? You better get them government services, okay? Because we're paying for them, all right? So WIC starts from pregnancy. As long as you can show proof that you're pregnant, i.e. an ultrasound or a note from your doctor, then you go ahead and go through the process of giving them your proof of address, your proof of employment. With COVID, I haven't had to go into the office because with COVID, they're doing everything virtually. You just send in your paperwork, they review it, make sure you're still eligible based off how much you're getting paid and the requirements of the baby, and then you go from there. But prior to COVID, you did have to bring your baby in to get physical exams, and then they would prick your finger to check your iron, to make sure mom is healthy, baby's healthy. They have a ton of different resources. So even if you don't qualify for WIC, they can definitely help you figure out if there's something else that you could qualify for that could help you in the process of having a new baby. So if you have any other questions for that, you could put it in the comments below and I will try my best to answer it. Next, I have the multi-grain cereal with Gerber, and this has iron, and it helps support learning ability. So down here at the very bottom, I didn't find this out until well into my parenting, but down here at the bottom right there, you see where it says sitter, second food. So on these containers, they tell you they're sitting up on their own, then this is something that you can use. I didn't ever use it to make oatmeal because my babies didn't like it. Even the flavored ones my baby didn't like. So I use this, and this together. This is the holy grail combination. Okay, right here. These three guys, and I'll explain why in a minute. Water bottle. I don't use sink water to make our babies' bottles. We use water bottles or filtered water. We have a filtered water machine, but most times I just crack open a water bottle. Then you're also going to need your choice of a bottle. My sister was the person who was into all the Dr. Brown and all that. I was not into none of that. I just used whatever they could put in their mouth, and as long as they liked the nipple, I was all right. So I used these bottles, but when they were babies, I used the little 4-ounce bottles. I got rid of them already. For Matthew, I had to get the nipples that were closest to like my nipple because he was breastfed, so he was kind of bougie and he didn't want no regular nipple, so we had to modify that. But the little 4-ounce bottles is what I used when they were babies. And then after about 7 or 6 months, I started to do this because they needed more meal, and this bottle goes up to 9 ounces. So normally the bottle that we make doesn't max past 8 ounces of water. Once we add all the ingredients, then it's up to 9 ounces and up, but just the water, we gauge it at 8 ounces. I did mention that we're talking about constipation and how to help our babies either prevent it, or once they are constipated, how to help them get through it. So I wanted to show you guys what to do if your baby is constipated and fussy and it just will not come out, especially if they're kneeling down. What I do is I lay our babies on their back, and then I push their legs up towards their chest, so they're naturally going to want to push back on their legs to get their legs away from their chest. And when you keep holding that pressure there while they're trying to push back, because then not only is that going to open their little baby cheeks, but then that's also going to give them the pressure, the counter pressure that they need to push the poop out. And then when they're constipated, or when we're taking road trips, or when before they go to bed, we like to put on their butt the A&D ointment. I cannot tell y'all how much I love and use A&D ointment, okay? I use A&D ointment on my lips. I use A&D ointment if I get a scratch. I use A&D ointment on my baby's butts. I love, love, love A&D ointment. Now, this one has lasted me forever, and I've had this one since when I was pregnant with Julian. So I've had this one almost 3 years now, and we did quite a bit out of it, but you need so little that it lasts you forever. It's so thick that you need so little that getting a big one is way more cost effective than buying the little ones. Unless, you wanted the little ones to go in the diaper bag and you needed travel size, but I just be throwing this in the diaper bag. Don't make me no different. But eat. Did you eat? Hey, no. Oh, yeah. You see that? What kind of kids are we raising? Okay, so let me explain how my process with this. So let's say we're on a road trip. And the only reason why I'm using this example is because I think a lot of people don't think about this. So that's why I'm bringing it up. When we go on road trips, we, of course, change the baby's diapers before we put them on the road. And we always put A&D ointment all around their little man parts and all around their butt, even near, circling around their little butthole. And the reason we do this is because on road trips, you stop, every couple hours, every 3-4 plus hours. We stop when we get on a half tank. We don't like to drive below half, because unless we're 10 minutes from our destination, because you never know when you'll get another gas station. Even if you're putting your baby on a plane for a long period of time, I recommend you do this. But we take road trips because we can't afford to put a family of 5 on a plane, period. So this protects the baby's skin. So what it does is, if the baby pees, it kind of works like Vaseline. It just slides off. It doesn't stick to the baby's skin. If they poop, it's not just sitting on their skin, chapping it up. because we can only get to them every couple hours. So we put this as a guard to protect our baby's skin. When they go to bed at night after baths, we put this on their butt and around their manhood area. Now, we don't put it on their actual, like, tip of their manhood and all that, because I don't want to block any pee. But on their little baby balls and all that, I be lathering them up down there, okay? Because I don't want no baby rashes. I don't want none of that. When they're constipated, this is amazing. When your babies are constipated, not only does it heal scars, because, you know, when they're constipated, sometimes they have really hard poops, and then it can make them bleed. It can make their butthole swell. You know, I've seen my boys go through it the couple times they've been constipated. And so what I do is I wipe gently. And while we're talking about wipes, I use the Huggies baby wipes. So this one is fragrance free, and it's for sensitive skin. And it's been approved by the National Eczema Association. I love these because I haven't seen my kids break out. I love Huggies, period. I used to think that I was a Pampers girl or a generic brand girl. And then I had Julian, and they had the Huggies diapers at the hospital. Been hooked ever since, okay? And we just wipe gently around the area after they, you know, they're constipated or they've done a big poop. And then we put this on their butthole area, all on their butt cheek where they would sit at, just to protect their skin. And I've seen my boys, like, let's say hypothetically they had a rough poop, right? And I go down there and I wipe, and you see they're like squirming, and because they're in pain, their booty is dry, their booty hurts. So when you put this down there, not only is it protecting their skin and moisturizing their skin and protecting them from burning when they pee because they're already sore and the skin is broken, but it also starts to heal them wherever there might be broken skin. So please, after you change your baby's poopy diapers, especially if they were constipated or if they pooped multiple times that day, put this on your baby's skin to protect them from rashes, dry skin, as well as to heal anything that you may or may not be able to see going on down there. So before they go to bed after baths, when they're constipated or have been pooping all day, and then if we're on road trips, this is what we use, okay? Holy grail. Because y'all know what it's like to poop and have your booty be dry and hurt. You don't want that for a baby, especially a baby who cannot talk, because they can't tell you what's wrong. So pay attention to your baby. They be telling you. That's my spiel on that. I feel like I had a long spiel on that, okay? So we also kept by our bed a basket. This isn't the particular basket we use, but this is just for example. We have a big blue one upstairs. And the reason why we kept a basket by our bed when our babies were newborns and up was because we were not that couple that was going to get up, go downstairs, and make a bottle. We was not about that life. So what we would do was we would put everything that we needed to make a bottle, i.e. the Karol syrup, the water bottle, the bottle itself, make sure we had a clean bottle, and the Similac. That was the best part about using Similac, is that it was like in a container, so you could travel it anywhere. And the Similac, and we would throw it all in the basket next to our bed. So when the baby woke up and we woke up, it was just as simple as reaching over, getting the stuff we need, shaking it up, making a bottle, feeding the baby. When we were downstairs, yes, sometimes we would warm the bottle up, but the bottle was not always warm, and our babies turned out just fine. But you do you. No, I lied. So sometimes my husband would come downstairs and warm the bottle up, but if we were really, really tired, the baby just got the bottle. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. But we also kept by our bed this kit right here. So when they got out of bath, we would comb their hair, and they had a teething toy in here. And then we got Neosporin down there, and baby powder, baby lotion, syringes for medicine. Just this binkies, extra binkies right there, little choopies. We had a little emergency kit next to the bed. One, I don't like looking for stuff. And two, this was very helpful just to reach over and grab, especially dealing with a newborn baby. On top of having other kids, you don't want to have to run to different rooms to grab things. So we put it on this container, and then we just put it in here, okay? I also kept by the bed when I was breastfeeding. It's a little crumbled now, but lactation cookies, I would keep them in here so I could just grab them when I needed it. Extra teething toys for the baby. Little syringes for their nose, for if they had a runny nose. And then this little guy right here, which is an electric one that gets the boogers out. An electric booger sucker. We kept this in here. And the kids' vitamins. And for vitamins, we use the Polyvaso. My mom said that's what she used for us growing up. And I don't remember very many times of us being sick. And that's by Enfamil as well. The Polyvaso vitamins. This is for infants and toddlers. So if you're like me, where you have a 1 and a 2-year-old, but before he turned 1, I had a newborn and a 1-year-old, you can use this for both, so then you're not buying different vitamins. The only person I buy vitamins for that's different is Brielle, and that's because she's 7 and she's a female. So there you go. Put the little ready to go basket by your bed so that you're not running around trying to get what you need. And even if you have a ready to go basket just in the kitchen or wherever you need it to be, so everything's in one place, you want to minimize how much work you have to do when you have to get up at 2, 3 in the morning to feed a baby. Okay, so before I do my demonstration, I wanted to speak on Julian since he's 2. He's my toddler. Now Matthew's a toddler too, now that he's 1. Sad case. Not sad, but, you know, that's my last baby. So for Julian, he loved Enfamil, right? That was his stuff. When he turned 1 and they told us that we had to switch him over or start switching him over to regular milk, he was not going for none of that. So he would take his baby brother bottles and drink them at 1.5 years old, and that would be when we weren't paying attention because he did not want his own milk. And so then we tried almond milk. He would drink almond milk for a little bit, and then he stopped drinking it because he didn't like it. So I went to his pediatrician. I'm like, what do I do? Do I just let him drink the Enfamil like his brother does, or what? And she was like, no, they can't drink the Enfamil. He's past 1. He needs to be drinking milk to, get his proper nutrition. And she's like, well, just keep trying to give him milk and, see how that works, and then bring him back and we'll talk more after that. So I tried to give him milk. It wouldn't work. This is why I say it's important to have a mom tribe, because I went to one of my closest friends and I told her, I was like, Julian just keeps drinking his brother's bottles. Exactly what I told you guys. She was like, well, Similac has a toddler version. Why don't you just give him the toddler one? And I was like, what? You mean to tell me I done went to a whole pediatrician to try to get the answer, and the pediatrician didn't know that there's a toddler version to Similac? What? So then we go to Myers, and this is what we found. This says, Go and Grow by Similac Toddler Drink. So this is exactly like the baby one, which is a milk-based powder. And it has all the vitamins and nutrition. It has fish for the brain, spinach for the eyes, and broccoli for development. All of those different things are in here. And you can use this from ages 12 to 36 months. So this is for the babies who just don't want to let go of Similac immediately. We used this for Julian. There was no more arguing. There was no more taking bottles. He would drink his own bottle and be straight. So I highly recommend this if you have a baby like mine who did not want to get off of Enfamil or get off of Similac. Now, it tells you in the back how to make it and what you need and how much water and everything you need to make it. Julian now does drink regular milk, chocolate milk, almond milk. We drink almond milk in our house. So he's good now, but this definitely helped me get through the time when we were not. And it's a really big jar, and you get a lot. As you see, we used about half of it. And it has comes with a little scooper. If you're unsure about whether or not your child will use it, I recommend that you get a smaller one just to try it. But a bigger one is more cost effective if you know that that's what your baby will take. So all we did with that was, with this, we would just take this, put the recommended amount of water in his sippy cup, put it in the microwave or something to warm it up for a little bit, put the lid on, pick it up, and give it to Juju. And that was a simple fix. And I used water bottles for that as well. So now that I've blurted out all my tips and tricks for, making it easier to get up at night with your babies as far as having everything in one place, what we used, how we organize things, I want to show you how we make these bottles. Because I get questions all the time about it from other military wives whose kids are constipated, because I feel like military families procreate like nobody else. Because deployments and stuff, you see those bottles, and you're like, one of them, and you're like, oh no, you got a baby. Yeah, I think that's what Julian was. Julian was a deployment baby. But anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your bottle. Whether you fill it up to 4 or 8 ounces is up to you. If you want to just do 4 ounces to start with to see if your baby likes it, or whether you want to do 8 because you have an older child that you're doing this for, it's up to you. But you're going to pour it to the 8-ounce line. And then you're going to take your Similac. Be careful opening, because as you can see, the rim is covered in Similac, so it's going to spill just a little bit. And you're going to take your scoop that comes with it. which is here. There's a scoop. Now, my babies don't drink these bottles no more, but for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to show you. This also tells you how to make the bottles and how much water. Sorry. Okay, I can't get it to zoom. But it says on here on the very bottom, it says for 8 fluid ounces of water, you need 4 scoops of powder. So you're just going to put 1. So then after you add the water, just pretend I only added water on there. So you add your water first, right? Then you take the bottle and you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. So after you put it in there for 30 seconds, you're going to take the bottle back to wherever the Similac is. My Similac happens to be in my front office right now. And you're going to add, for me, it's 3 more scoops because I already added 1. So I'm going to add 3 more scoops. I need 2 hands for this. 1. 2. 3. Okay. So there's 3 scoops. Excuse my little mess. So after you add your 3 scoops, you're going to add your Karol syrup next. I don't recommend that you add the Karol syrup after you add the cereal, only because the Karol syrup does get a little sticky and it thickens the bottle mixture, and then it's kind of hard to shake it all up. So do the Karol syrup next because it just flows straight into the liquid. And that's all that you need, literally that much, not a lot. Okay, so you see how it goes straight down to the bottom. If you add the cereal first, then it's just going to float at the top and make it hard to shake up. Now, for the cereal, since our baby was a sitter at the time we got the second foods, make sure you get the foods according to your baby's stage. Hi. Hey, Mette Nanny. Mette Nanny. Dad to the rescue. Okay, so one thing I did want to say when you're making these bottles is, you see how this says cereal right here? When you have a baby who is 6 months and below, meaning 6 months to newborn, I recommend that you get the multigrain that says rice. Right here, it will say rice. And the stage will be different right here. Not that you wouldn't get the second food, you would get the first food. From 6 months and up, I recommend that you get the second food, and you can get cereal or you can still get rice. But the rice adds a thickness to the bottle, but it's not so thick that the baby's belly can't digest it. And of course, this is just a little on the thicker side for babies who, have been in the world a little longer, a little more seasoned. So after you add that, you're going to take your oatmeal or your rice, which are depending on your baby stage, and you're going to add just enough in there. Right there. And you can see how it's floating. That's why I said not to put the Karol syrup on top. Just that much. Not a whole lot. Just like 4 or 5 good sprinkles. And then you're going to put the lid. Now, with the baby lid. When your baby is newborn to 6 months, you're going to take a knife and you're going to poke a little bitty hole in the nipple. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take just a knife or some scissors, whatever you deem safe, and you're going to poke just a little tiny hole, like a little stretch of a hole, probably about this much of the knife. Right there. To make that big of a hole, maybe smaller, depending on your baby, so that the baby can actually get the milk out. Because if you keep the hole unpunctured, then the baby is not going to get any milk. And if you make the hole too big, then the baby's going to drink it too fast and could possibly choke. So just make a small little incision about that big into the bottle or into the nipple, right? So after you do that, and as the baby gets older, you can make it bigger. It's up to you, depending on how your baby's suction works. And then you're going to grip the nipple because you did put that hole, and you're going to shake it up. And then just make sure that everything is nice and mixed in. And as I said, I said you put 8 ounces of water, but it'll get to a 9-ounce bottle. That's why, because you're adding all that good stuff into there. I can't speak for everyone when I say this, But that's how I grew up. Making these type of bottles is what my mom taught me when I first had Brielle. This is what my grandma taught her, and then my great-great-grandma taught her, and so on and so forth. So we've been doing this for generations. For those who don't breastfeed, and I have 3 kids and they're all still living. So I'm not telling you nothing that I don't do myself. I have like 3 of these bottles alone sitting in my cabinet right now. Karol syrup does help with constipation. So if your baby is constipated, this does help them be regular. Disclaimer, do not make this combination without using this. Because if you put the oatmeal or the rice in the bottle and you do not add Karol syrup to it, you can constipate your baby. The Karol syrup is what helps the baby digest the oatmeal or the rice that you're adding to the cereal. Now, the last thing I wanted to say, which is like the bonus statement, that when your baby is about a month old, you can start doing the combination to thicken the bottles so that the bottles can stay on the baby longer. Now, some people, pediatricians, you talk to a pediatrician about it, they're like, no, I wouldn't recommend that, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, I got 3 kids. They're all healthy. They were not ever underweight. They were rarely constipated, but you do what you think is best for your baby, best off your judgment. So the combination I showed you is really good to prevent constipation. And it's also good to keep the baby asleep at night longer with them having a thicker bottle. Like I said, don't overdo it on the Karol syrup, just like 1 or 2 drops. Don't overdo it on the oatmeal or the rice. Like I said, 3 or 4 shakes, so that you're not making the bottle too thick, because you're not trying to make a bowl of oatmeal in a bottle. You're just trying to add some thickness to the milk. So that's all I have for you guys on that. I wanted to show you guys these things before I got rid of all of this stuff, because Matthew's 1 now, so he drinks regular milk. Julian's 2, Brielle's 7. So we don't need this stuff anymore. So if you have any questions about the combination, about poking holes in the nipple, about constipation, and anything like that, then please put in the comments below and I will make sure I respond.